Bernie Sanders has issued a press release publicly and aggressively supporting the Iran deal that the president, that John Kerry and the Obama administration helped, along with Russia, China, France, and Germany and England, put together. And, a fine thing it is. And Hillary Clinton's campaign has issued a statement saying that they are supportive of the deal. They're congratulating the Obama administration on, work well done sort of thing. So, meanwhile, the Republicans are climbing over each other to be increasingly hyperbolic and hysterical about this. And I think, Bob Ney nailed it. There's big money here. If Iran comes into the world market with their oil, it's going to further depress the price of oil. The price of oil dropped this morning on news that the deal had happened. The fossil fuel industry doesn't like that. And, so there's money for members of Congress there. Israel's unhappy with this. There's money for members of Congress there. Saudi Arabia is unhappy about this, as well as several of the other Sunni dictatorships in the region. And, they're all multi-billionaires. So there's money for members of Congress there. So I think you're going to see, the bought and paid for shills for the fossil fuel industry in particular in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives on the Republican side and a few on the Democratic side who are, going to just, be ringing the hysterical buttons and bells and whatever they can do. I mean, I saw Tom Cotton this morning on TV, saying, this is no good. He was the leader of the 47 traitors who sent the letter to Iran's president saying, we have a final say in this. Well, they don't. They have this is a deal between Iran and the United Nations, not Iran and the United States. Now, the U.S. part of it, the U.S. Congress can and almost certainly will pass legislation or whatever you want to call it, saying, no, we don't go along with this. The president will veto it, which means that they're going to have to marshal 2/3 of the House and the Senate in order to survive a presidential veto, which means they're going to need a lot of Democrats. And I don't think the Democrats are going to be there for it, unless in the next 2 months, and keep in mind, in the world of politics, I mean, 2 days is an eternity. 2 months is an eon, an epoch. And if in the next 2 months, the people who are opposed to this deal manage to roll out some horrible thing, the equivalent of when the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador went before Congress in 1991 and lied, saying that she was a nurse working in a hospital in Kuwait, and that she had seen the Iraqi soldiers come in and throw babies out of the what do you call them, incubators? Is that the word for preemies, and steal the incubators? Well, it was a complete lie. It was totally made up. And she had been coached by a PR firm here in the United States, which had been hired by the government of Kuwait because they wanted America to go in and kick Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. And sure enough, U.S. public opinion turned based in large part on that testimony. These people are such barbarians. They're throwing babies on the floor. Again, it was a lie. She was never held to account for lying to Congress. And George Herbert Walker Bush was able to have his war, which he thought was going to get him reelected. It didn't quite work out that way, as his son pointed out back in 1999 when he said, my daddy had all this political capital and he wasted it. Why? Yeah, well, the war only lasted 100 hours. George Herbert Walker Bush, having been a survivor of World War II, where he flew bombing missions, was actually very proud of the fact that his war was a very short war, with a relatively minimal number of casualties and no long-term consequences. At least that's how it looked at the time. We know now that had they listened to Bernie Sanders, who stood on the floor of the House of Representatives in 1991 and outspokenly said we should not invade Kuwait. This is their problem, not our problem. There are other Arab countries in the region that have big armies. If they think that one Arab country is messing with another Arab country in an inappropriate way, you've got the Arab League can deal with this. This is not our problem. We should not be invading Kuwait. This will set up wars in the future with Iraq and in the region. This is what Bernie Sanders said. I'm paraphrasing, of course, This is what Bernie Sanders said in 1991. You can find the video on YouTube. It's fairly easy to find. On the floor of the House of Representatives, he warned us. And sure enough, that first Bush war set the stage for the second, Shrubs war, and which is still haunting us. Still haunting us.